Hello, everyone. This is a presentation on investigating misconceptions. Specifically, oxygen is the primary purpose and product of photosynthesis, presented by Ashley Norton and Yesenia Pinda. Our corresponding standard is identify the reactants, products, and basic functions of photosynthesis. Many students think the main goal of photosynthesis is to make oxygen for humans and animals. They believe plants do photosynthesis mainly to release oxygen. The real purpose is to use sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to make glucose for the plant. The glucose is for growth, energy, and function. Oxygen is just a byproduct, not the main product. This misconception often starts around 7th grade and can persist through 9th grade, even into college if not corrected. Why does this matter? When students misunderstand photosynthesis, they may miss how plants sustain themselves and feed others. Knowing it correctly helps students grasp respiration and carbon cycling in later lessons. This misconception typically originates from early teaching being oversimplified with ideas such as plants clean the air or plants make oxygen for us. We found that probes with a focus on getting students to explain themselves through questioning can best detect this misconception. When we look at this diagram, you will see how by following the correct purpose of photosynthesis leads to an understanding of what plants do during photosynthesis and why they do it, versus our misconception leading to the focus being on oxygen. For our assessment probe, we used ChatGPT. We found it to be a good source as it helped create clear targeted questions on students' photosynthesis knowledge. We implemented this probe by giving it to a total of 5 students during class. Students worked independently on them with no internet or peer help. This probe was designed to target our misconception that oxygen is the main purpose of photosynthesis. It checked students' knowledge on reactants, products, and the purpose of the process. We found it to be effective because it had students explain what they know and also where they learned it. As we assessed student understanding, it was clear that they were confident and correct in their answer choices. Almost every single answer was correct. We were shocked to see that this group of students were able to base their answers off prior knowledge, leading them to correct answer choices. This group doesn't adhere to the misconception and actually have a solid understanding of photosynthesis. To combat this misconception in the classroom, we found a lesson on photosynthesis that goes through the 5 E's of learning. Over the course of this lesson, students will explain, using evidence, how sunlight is converted into chemical energy through photosynthesis, applying the law of conversion of mass to understand the process and its purpose. This lesson will extend over 3 classes and requires materials and resources such as lab sheets, task cards, colored pencils, videos, reading passages, and interactive notebook activities. To engage, students will have a think, pair, share discussion about energy and chemical reactions. To explore, students will watch, read, organize, illustrate, research, and discuss. To explain, students will participate in interactive notebook activities, anchor charts, and classroom discussions. To elaborate, Students will be able to choose projects to apply their understanding of photosynthesis in real-world contexts. Lastly, to evaluate, students will complete formative assessments and modified assessments for differentiated learning needs. As a walkthrough for the lesson, students begin by engaging in their think, pair, share, and whiteboard practice. Then they rotate through a 9-station exploration lab. Next, students use interactive whiteboard activities. Lastly, students will choose from differentiated project options to apply their learning. And the lesson will be completed with formative assessments.
Beautiful. Let's start by showing students a short time-lapse video of a plant in water releasing bubbles. Then I ask, what do you think the plant is doing? What is it making? Most students say the plant is making its food or that the bubbles are food. This helps me uncover that common misconceptions that oxygen is the main product of photosynthesis. Next, we explore their ideas through the leaf disc experiment. Students place leaf discs in baking soda solution under light and watch bubbles form. They're surprised to learn that the bubbles are oxygen being released, not the plant's food. This creates cognitive dissonance, where students realize something that doesn't match their prediction. Then I explain the real process using the photosynthesis equation and visuals showing that glucose, not oxygen, is the plant's stored energy. Finally, students use molecular models to build glucose, connecting it to an energy source and plants' growth. At this point, I highlight that oxygen is just a byproduct, not the main goal of photosynthesis. I ask, if oxygen were the plant's food, how would the plant grow? Students compare their earlier predictions with the experiment results and notice this mismatch. The leaf disc experiment acts as a discrepant event, challenging their misconception that oxygen equals food. According to the NARST conceptual change model, this mix of dissatisfaction and hands-on evidence helps students replace old ideas with scientifically accurate ones. It also connects to several science and engineering practices. Students plan and carry out investigation, analyze their data, and engage in argument form evidence as they explain what really happens during photosynthesis. They record bubble information, discuss results in groups, and constructs explanations based on what they observed. It's hands-on engaging and helps them think like scientists. If I were presenting this to a class, I'd even demonstrate the experiment live and have them predict the outcome. We found that many students think oxygen is the main product of photosynthesis. Using the leaf disc experiment and students' interviews, we identified gaps in their understanding and corrected them through evidence and discussion. In our group reflection, I shared that I learned how powerful predictions can be for revealing misconceptions. Ashley mentioned realizing how common these misconceptions are and how inquiry-based learning helps students confront them. The big takeaway is that teachers should plan lessons that uncover and address misconceptions early. By using experiments, discussions, and predictions, we help students make meaningful conceptual changes. A lingering question we had was, how can we connect photosynthesis misconception to a broader ecosystem's energy flow, which could be a great next step for future lessons. Class, this is the end of our project. Here are our final references, and we appreciate you listening to our project. Thank you.